In the shadows of historic Temple Square in Salt Lake City, Utah, is Rio Tinto Stadium, home for the 2014 Rugby Varsity Cup. The Cal Bears have made the trek from Berkeley in a hunt for their 27th national title. But BYU is the defending champion. With a repeat on their minds, it's Cougars versus the Bears for the national title.
There we go. It's it.
I knew whoever was going to win, it was going to be by the slimmest of margins. But when you play Cal, I mean, it's just a battle to the very end.
The fact that, you know, we were good a couple years ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 20 years ago, doesn't mean much to these young men. I mean, they want to be good themselves.
Seamus Kelly draws 4 defenders and splits them like a Tinto knife. Seamus Kelly.
It's an honor to wear that jersey. Knowing the guys in the past who have gone before you and accomplished so much, and you have a responsibility to that tradition.
Oh, and Paul Lasike does it all himself. Wow.
Another clinic being put on by BYU to set up a rematch between two of the most vaunted rugby programs in collegiate history.
I appreciate that other teams play their best rugby against us, and that means that, you know, we've got to continue to raise our own bar, so I wouldn't have it any other way.
And we welcome you to NBCSN's coverage of the Varsity Cup. On a picture-perfect day in Salt Lake City, Utah, the Cal Bears come in with a record of 18-2, and they take on the #1 ranked BYU Cougars at 17-1. Just moments ago, BYU head coach David Smith giving his team the final instructions.
Hey guys, enjoy this. It's a great experience. It's what you do all the hard work for. This is what, those 6 o'clock mornings, January and February in the IPF, this is why we did it. This is why you worked hard to get here. Well done, but the job's not done, fellas. The job's not done. Finish it today. Finish it today, okay? All right, Sumpy, they're all yours.
Yeah. Hey, boys, let's bring it up real quick.
Let's go, boys!
Let's go, boys. Bigs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes!
And that was a scene moments ago in both locker rooms as BYU and Cal get set to do battle. Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Harris. It is a picture-perfect day here in Salt Lake City as spring is upon Rio Tinto Stadium, where today we will crown a national champion. BYU is the defending champions, and the Cal Bears, well, they have a history like no one else. Here's the road to the championship. BYU got through Dartmouth, then absolutely destroyed Navy. Cal took down UCLA, and then last week were able to get past Central Washington. Alongside former member of the U.S. national team, Brian Hightower, we are set, Brian, for a great matchup. These are the two Goliaths of the sport. Now, we've covered 7s on NBC and NBCSN before, but this is 15s. Other than the number of players, what's the difference?
Well, 7s is a sprint, and 15s really a marathon. Yards are a lot harder to come by. Space is harder to find. Lots more contact. Both these teams looking to put a physical stamp on this game. We got a good one on our hands.
All right, let's break it down. The Cal Bears, they are led by their captain, Seamus Kelly. Suffice it to say, this young man can do just about everything.
Absolutely, and here against UCLA, the chip kick, he shows the speed. But last week against Central Washington, showing some footwork here, best feet on this team, and look at him just dicing up defenses.
And our Marty Snyder's with the captain of Cal.
Well, Todd, when you mention Cal Rugby, people think national championship. Seamus Kelly is the captain of the team, and you told me for the first time ever wearing a Cal jersey, you feel like the underdog. Why?
I think BYU has an exceptional team and a great group of athletes, so you know, it's a major challenge for us.
You told me the path to victory very narrow. What do you mean by that?
I think we have a very specific game plan that we feel is the most effective path towards victory, and I don't think we can afford to stray off that victory path to beat a team like BYU.
Well, Todd, he told me yesterday the best part about it, though, I feel better about how we're playing rugby right now than any time in the season.
So the Cal Bears, led by their captain, Seamus Kelly for BYU, they have got so much talent at every position. Their captain, of course, Kyle Sumption, but Paul Lasike has been so explosive, plays both football and rugby at BYU.
Absolutely, and Paul Lasike, he plays like he has a pair of shoulder pads on, so hard to take down in the open field. You don't want to be a one-on-one tackler if you're Cal.
Here he is at Notre Dame in one of the most famous collegiate football stadiums, and this is the kind of runner he is.
Absolutely, just puts the ears back and just straight ahead. And last week, a real good piece of ball handling here springs Paul Lasike into the open field, and one poor defender from Navy to stop him.
And Paul Lasike is with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, as we just saw, Paul Lasike, not only a football star at BYU, but also a rugby star trying to win a national championship once again. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about the pressure of playing in a national championship game. Is there added pressure playing at home and playing against your biggest rival, Cal?
Definitely, there's positive pressure, and hopefully that we can use it to our advantage, and that we can come off with a victory against Cal Berkeley.
We just saw your highlight running for the big run against Notre Dame and that 100-yard game you had. What was that like to do that against the Irish?
It was awesome, It was great to have an outstanding game against such a great team like Notre Dame. And yeah, it was a killer. It was like I was out of breath after that run, but it was a fun experience.
But right now, Todd, his focus squarely on trying to win a 4th straight national championship for BYU.
There they are, the Cal Bears and the BYU Cougars. We are less than 3 minutes away from kickoff. This is the Varsity Cup for the national title on NBCSN.
When you put your name on something, it means something. For over 140 years, Coors Banquet's been brewed in one place with pure Rocky Mountain water and the best high country barley. And someone with the name Coors still tastes our beer every week, making sure it tastes as good today as it did in 1873. That's something we're proud to put our name on. Coors, the banquet beer.
The look of success just got easier. Joseph A. Bank Traveler dress shirts and sports shirts. Now 3 for $109. 100% cotton, wrinkle-free traditional and trimmer fits. A fantastic limited time value, 3 for $109. Through Saturday at Joseph A. Bank.
Summer is back, and Universal Sports Network is unearthing the most cut, brilliant, and polished athletes. The 2014 Diamond League returns May 9th on Universal Sports Network.
I get the most amazing Mother's Day gift. It was a wonderful surprise.
This Mother's Day, surprise her with something different. Give Sherry's Berries, the freshest, juiciest strawberries, dipped in the finest ingredients. Choose from over 50 gourmet toppings, all delivered fresh to any home or office for Mother's Day.
When I opened the box, I was in heaven.
With this special offer, get a signature gift box of Sherry's Berries for just $19.99 and order now to double the berries for just $9.99 more.
I sent them to my mom. It was a really good deal.
Go to berries.com, click the mic in the upper right corner, and enter code SPORTS. Get these amazing strawberries for just $19.99 or double the berries for only $9.99 more.
You can't go wrong sending a box of Sherry's Berries.
Berries.com. Click the mic and enter code SPORTS. Or call 888-SWEET-90.
I think we take a lot of responsibility in representing our university. I think they expect us to prepare hard, and play hard, and compete hard.
last 30 years, the Cal Golden Bears certainly are the gold standard when it comes to intercollegiate rugby. They have been a dominant force throughout, and Jack Clark at the head man since 1984. They've got 26 national titles, looking for 27 here today in Salt Lake City. Our Marty Snyder standing by with the head man, the Cal Bears.
Well, Todd, no doubt they have the tradition, but yesterday, Jack, you told me that in 32 years you've never felt more like an underdog. Why?
We're an underdog. They're a really good team. Credit to them. We're going to give them everything we have, though. We're going to give it a lash.
If you win this match today, what needs to happen?
Well, we're going to have to, play keep away from them, to be honest. We're going to have to play some real good defense. We're going to need some luck.
You told me the number one thing is we cannot have turnovers, and number two, we must start with tremendous energy, Todd.
All right, thank you very much, Marty. More from you throughout the games. We take a look quickly at the rules of 15, Brian.
Yeah, 15 guys on a side, 40-minute grueling halves. Can't throw the ball forward. You got to cross the line, score a try. That's downward pressure, in goal, 5 points. That's what you're trying to do.
5 points for the try, 2 points for the conversion, and as Cal knows all too well, a drop kick, 3 points, as BYU was able to do that last year in Provo to win the national championship. So here we go, 2014 version of the Varsity Cup. It's the BYU Cougars taking on the California Golden Bears. And Brian, no question in your mind as we watched both these teams yesterday go through practice, this is going to be an absolute physical battle.
Well, talking to Seamus Kelly yesterday, and he said they were kind of surprised at how aggressive BYU was last year in the final. Kind of took them by surprise, caught them off guard, and this year they got to be a lot more physical.
Ball kicked out, so it goes into touch, so it'll be a line out for the Cal Bears, and this is another interesting way, for the BYU Cougars, it's an interesting way to start the game over again. Ball travels down the channel, and BYU takes possession. And that's Lasike, number 12 for BYU.
Seamus Kelly is asking the ref why he didn't have to release the ball. It was a great tackle on Paul Lasike by Seamus Kelly.
Another difference you'll notice if you're familiar to watching sevens on NBC and NBCSN is this game is not going to be as fast, Brian, as you talked about, as wide open, more emphasis on the power game than the speed game.
Well, and I think if you're Cal, you want to speed this game up. I think Cal probably the fitter of the two sides. Here's a look at Harry Adolphus, the young winger from the Cranley School in the UK. He's got a great left boot. He's going to try to work deep into BYU territory, and this is a good start for Cal. And sometimes that first hit, Todd, you get involved in the game early, you get your shoulders on somebody, and it kind of has that effect of just calming you down.
So a line out now, the second one of the game, this one to Cal. The ball has to travel straight down the tunnel, but once it does, Brian, it's anyone's ball.
Front jumper, Cal going with the security.
Cal playing the numbers on the outside. Almost a forward pass there. No forward passing there. And a big tackle as number 15, Josh Whippy, comes in and just puts the Cal Blair to the deck.
Harry Adolphus, only 169 pounds. Takes a good shot there from the fullback. Cal going through phases. Aya Akuzi hasn't had a lot of starts, coming back from injury, wearing the number 12 jersey for Cal. Little rusty. He had a first pass that was a little bit errant. Some of that might be nerves.
Takes a BYU bounce on that chip, so the Cougars take over. Ruck is formed. BYU will try to get their numbers on the side. And they're going to play the field game.
Jake Anderson, a great fullback. Had a masterful kicking performance last week against Central Washington. And there's a mistake, first mistake there by Cal.
You want to know how physical 15s is? Take a look at this action at the very beginning of the game as Adolphus comes down the line. Ooh.
Shoulders in, great tackle there by Josh Whippy.
And remember, folks, no pads.
Well, so first scrum, very important for these two front rowers. The guys wearing numbers 1, 2, and 3 to establish some physical dominance. Cody Thompson on the right there for the BYU scrum.
Ball is fed in. It's a free ball. BYU and Cal contend for it. And the Cougars come away with it. Here's Lasike, number 12, with the ball.
Kuzi misses that first tackle. First chance to tackle Paul Lasike. You got to try to put him down.
BYU's Jordan Lowry now finds himself taken down to the deck. Another ruckus formed by the Cougars.
Alec Kletzer, the number 7, hard worker for Cal. Great skip out pass by Johnny Linehan. Good defense though by Cal.
So the Cougars starting to sense some momentum, trying to get the first try of the game, the fine points.
Referee Nick Riccono says Cal not rolling away. He was playing advantage.
And that was Kyle Sumption, the captain, just moments ago. More on him, number 8, the 8-man. And Brian, this is where you gotta like BYU's chances, the way they run such a physical game in this part of the field.
Well, and if you're gonna give up points, you gotta give up 3 points, not 5 points if you're Cal.
On the outside, Cal, can they keep Whippy out? No, they cannot. To the inside, he dumps it off. And Paul Lasike with the first try of the match.
Great piece of work by Josh Whippy. And look, he runs through the gap here. Trying to get across is the Cal defense, but they're stretched. And the offload goes to Paul Lasike, nobody in front of him. And the story of this game has to be tackling for Cal. They got to put bodies on the ground. David Smith, BYU coach, likes what he sees.
Yeah, it's on, it's on.
The coach from Ireland, not a lot of emotion, but that's pretty much how he does things.
You'd expect him to be a little more fiery, but that's not his style.
No.
And Linehan slots the conversion to make it 7-0 early in this contest. Circle the wagons if you're Cal.
Paul Lasike, the numbers on him, originally from Auckland, New Zealand, 6 feet 227. He'll bulk up a little bit more when head coach Bronco Mendenhall gets a hold of him for the football program coming up for BYU. And telling us earlier in the week that Notre Dame experience for him playing American football was awesome. For more on that matchup last year in South Bend, we check in on the field with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, he remembers that long run. In fact, it was 47 yards, and he remembers it for the bad cut. He told me that he made at the end of the run. He said, I could see the end zone. I just couldn't get there because I knew the guy was catching me, and I made the wrong cut. He said, been beating myself up ever since about that. Over 100 yards against Notre Dame, almost got there against Texas, and they're going to center the BYU offense around him a little bit more this year in the football game. So he's going to get some more carries on the football side as well. So certainly very impressive, not only in the rugby pitch, but on the football field as well, Todd.
No question about it. Head coach Bronco Mendenhall, he's not dumb. He'll go over and check out the rugby practices, and he sees some talent. He saw Lasike and said, there might be something to this kid.
Absolutely. And Mark Atuaya, his coach.
Oh,
there's a break
free.
Andrew Battaglia.
And Cal answers right back. Broken tackle. And a great piece of running by the Bears.
Great finish there. Andrew Battaglia, he's Canadian-born, played some under-19 rugby for the Canadian Sevens team, and that is the finishing ability that he brings. A little step outside of Jordan Lowry, his opposite, and puts the ball down. And that's a great response for Cal, and that's Brad Harrington, reserve center, the rest of the bench going crazy.
And this conversion is going to be a little more tricky as the wind is blowing very hard out of the south, kind of pushing out of the south to the north. So, Brian, as your expert kicker that you are, how do you feather this thing in through the uprights?
Well, I'll tell you what, I saw Jake Anderson put on an absolute clinic last week for place kicking, and this is well within his range.
This is something the captain, Seamus Kelly, said, keep an eye on this guy. If there's one star to look out for, could be Jake Anderson doing the kicking for the Cal Bears.
And that's a tough kick, and it's good, 7-7.
So wind not a factor for Anderson, and Cal answers right back. Couldn't have been better for Jack Clark. He said, we cannot get behind BYU. And what do? They come out and they put a try on.
Well, simply protecting the ball and going through some phases. And as both Coach Clark and Seamus Kelly said earlier, a very narrow channel for victory. Part of that channel, they got to keep the ball mistake-free, can't put it on the ground as they did to let BYU have that first try.
So BYU will kick this one into space, play a little field position with the Cal Bears, and no support there. BYU swarming the ball carrier.
Anderson in danger zone there. He was lucky to get some Cal support. He was on his own and isolated. Jack O'Byrne wearing the number 6, didn't get the start last week for Cal, but he's happy to have reclaimed that blindside flanker's number.
Penalty on BYU, so they back him up 10 meters.
This is one of the things that has hurt BYU throughout the season. Talking to Coach David Smith a couple days ago, and he said one of the problems with this young BYU side is that they're impatient at the breakdown. They make too many mistakes, commit too many penalties.
So it's kicked into touch by the Cal Bears, who are all even at 7. 9.5 minutes played so far here at Rio Tinto. Well, here's the trail to the Varsity Cup final for the Cal Bears. Get past UCLA 41-0. Maybe expected a tougher matchup from Central Washington, but in the end, Cal had no problem.
Well, Coach Clark's been talking about how great BYU is, but you know, both teams in the semifinal last week scored 60 points, or at least near it, against two pretty good teams. So it's a pretty even contest. Clean, slow ball there. Anytime the ball doesn't come out quickly, you're going to see the forwards go to work. Another rumble there. They're looking for soft shoulders, as it's known. Just get some half yards. Ea Akuzi getting into more of a rhythm at 12. He's got to put Lasike on the ground today, though.
Big number 7, Alec Gletzer.
Big tackle there by the veteran Dave Collins, playing tight head prop for his second year in a row at the final of the Varsity Cup.
Cal again on the tack on the outside, cut it back into the inside. Tackle made there by Ada Elkington.
Great inside pass from Seamus Kelly to Tanner Moore, using the forwards on the outside.
And a mistake there by the Cal Bears near midfield. BYU will take over control. How do they answer back?
And again, just like we saw in that first try, they've given the ball away in a silly turnover. Backed up deep. That's Russell Webb, 5'7", playing fly half. Battaglia.
Room to run. Now, folks at home that may be used to 7s, you might wonder, why are they playing this kicking back and forth, Brian? Why not just keep the ball, maintain possession?
Well, yeah, there's so much more time, and that's what 15s is all about, getting the ball in the right spot on the field and eating up territory.
Here's the path to the championship for the BYU Cougars, beating Dartmouth and then Navy 60-0. The second shutout of the season. I think a lot of people expected number 5 Navy to give the Cougars a little tougher task, but down in Provo on that south field, BYU pretty tough to beat.
Well, they also did it in a driving rain as well. You wonder what would have happened if the field was dry. Bosco, number 9 for Cal. And there, another mistake, a turnover. Harry Adolphus wearing number 11. He's played a couple different positions this year.
So BYU quick to reset. Here they come again. Lasike on the inside, and big number 12 piles forward. The ball comes free. BYU maintains possession.
Bodies on the ground for Cal. They don't have a very deep bench. They got to get players on their feet. Ea Akuzi was slow to get up, wearing number 12, and that's what happens when Paul Lasike runs into you.
Will Taylor doing the running there, number 6 for BYU. Blindside flanker. Now number 4, Rob Cook for the Cougars.
Go the way, move, no hands.
Opportunity to listen into our officials today as they are mic'd up.
Kyle Sumption wearing number 8. Puts in the triple tackle by Cal, gets the ball to the ground, and forms that ruck.
Sumption is the captain of BYU, the young man. And looks like BYU is going to put another try as Jordan Lowry takes it across for the 5. And all of that really instigated by the captain, as I was talking about Kyle Sumption from just down the road at American Fork, Utah. He does the hard work, and here's the payoff.
Luke Monkey, and look at the space on the corner. A great miss pass out to the left wing. He's come all the way over from the left to the right-hand corner. Great work by Jordan Lowry, number 11.
Lowry turning on the Jets, just 5'8", 165. Brian, we talked about when we were watching practice earlier in the run-ons. This game is really for all body types.
Absolutely, and you'll see some of the bigger guys churning the hard yards up front, really eating up turf. It's amazing to watch some of these guys that go 250, 260 playing 80-minute games. One of the concerns about Paul Lasike, in fact, is he just came back from football. They just ended spring ball. Can he run for 80 straight minutes and getting some attention? It looks like that's the number 8, Tion Donation.
Johnny Linehan pushes it just wide, so the score remains 12-7 BYU as we approach 15 minutes into the first half of 40. I want to remind you that tonight the Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN as the Ducks face off against Jonathan Quick and the Kings. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. The second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN. Back here in Rio Tinto Stadium, Salt Lake City, Utah. 14 minutes plus into the Varsity Cup National Championship as BYU, the defending champions, taking on the Cal Bears.
Harry Adolphus at the midfield stripe. The kickoff, they'll go long, use the wind, try to trap BYU deep.
Here we go.
Cougars kick this one out into space. Anderson and another turnover by the Cal Bears. Exactly what Jack Clark said they could not do.
Well, Tion Donation, number 8, the one who just dropped the pass, was getting some attention over on the far side of the field after the try. And he's got a dead arm right now. He could not catch that ball.
Knock on.
So it's a knock on by BYU. The ball knocked forward.
Forward from blue.
And we'll have a scrum. Here it is one more time,
Take a look
Brian.
here. Jake Anderson gives it to Donation, but he can't lift that right arm to catch the ball. And look at, he's running with a dead arm.
Good effort, good effort.
Boys, I want to get ahead. We take you back now, boys. Let's go. Water. Water.
And the game will stop for some medical attention on Donation. And I don't know if it's a stinger or whether it's some sort of mechanical issue, but he's having a hard time with that right wing of his.
Jack Clark looking on, his squad trailing 12-7. We had a chance to sit down with Jack yesterday, and boy, he gave us a real story about how Cal had no chance and BYU was this powerful team. We all left that meeting wondering how much of that was he really sincerely believing that his team had no chance, and how much was he really giving us the business?
Well, there is a little bit of gamesmanship going on between the Cal coaches and the BYU coaches, but we really do believe, listening to Jack Clark, that he thinks they're the underdog.
So on the scrum, Cal takes over. Nearing midfield, looking for an opportunity to get another try here.
Nice open field tackle on Seamus Kelly by Paul Lasike.
Gotta be impressed so far, Brian, with BYU's interior defense. They're really breaking things down at the point of attack and making Cal take everything wide. But you said that may be something Cal want to do, is stretch this field out and make the Cougars run more.
I think over time, you want to try to tire these guys out. Aya Akuzi getting doubled up by Cal there.
Move one.
Scott Walsh wearing the #1 jersey for Cal. Little chip. Oh, beautiful little kick there.
Oh, it takes a Cal bounce, and a great piece of work by the Bears.
Nice job by Kelly to buy some time, waiting for support. Notice how he laid that ball back nice and slow. O'Byrne to Okuzi, and there's Harry Adolphus. He's got room.
Adolphus taken down at the last minute, able to unload it, and a turnover again by California.
Advantage over, so Jake Anderson with the ball. Cal in the open field. Tanner Moore, he's the hooker, wearing the head wrap, wearing the #2 jersey, and Russell Webb with the ball. Akuzi fights for yards. Gletzer cleaning up the back.
Nice clean out by the Bears. Reset, they'll go to the other side in a switch.
Jake Anderson goes alone. Oh, a great steal by Luke Mackey from BYU.
Lasike.
Cal knocking on the door, and a turnover at the line.
They need every chance they have to go their way.
And look at this kick. Drives Adolphus all the way back. He's going to play that game and play this one into touch. As we sit it down on the field of Marty Snyder.
Well, guys, we've seen Tion Donation out there with the right arm. He was offered to come out by the training staff. He said, no, I want to stay in, but clearly in a lot of pain with that right arm. This is nothing new to Cal this year. They've had 12 guys be injured this year, either out for the season or out for significant parts of the season. As Tion is now coming out of the game, they are going to pull him from the game. They've had 12 guys they've had to deal with, and they've had some significant injuries, too. They actually had one of their players go through a cancer scare. They had one player who went through an open heart surgery. So they've been through everything, not only injuries on the pitch, but also injuries off of the pitch as well. And Jack Clark told me, usually we have to deal with the injuries on the pitch, but I've had to keep the guys up emotionally, keep them going in the right direction. We've certainly been working on that a lot this year.
Well, no injuries, no stranger to this sport, but when you get 12 season-ending injuries, Brian, and still get your squad to the national championship, that is huge. Good credit to Jack Clark and the training staff at Cal.
Well, they'll tell you, every single one of these guys, that you got to win with the 15 on the field. And it's just too bad the injuries are part of the game. Adolphus unloads to Anderson there. A little bit of trouble. Good defense by BYU.
So both squads content to play field position at this point. Ball's chipped on, and a nice job by BYU.
Linehan collects his own. Nobody there to pick up that ball. Gletzer forces the knock on by BYU, and they're able to turn it over. Great pass by Seamus Kelly. Off the left boot of Adolphus. That's why he's playing on the left wing. He's got a real clinical foot. And not such a great clearing kick there by number 14, Chris Wernley.
Well, Jack Clark talked to us a lot yesterday about turnovers and how they had to limit them and keep them to next to nothing. But today, Brian, it has not been the case here in the first 20 minutes of play.
Well, that's a great pass there to Adolphus. Turns the ball over, and it ends up being a try for BYU. And here, a chance to go in, but Jack O'Byrne held up and spills the ball forward.
Yes, please. Cal, take this line. Thank you.
So Tanner Moore will throw it in for Cal. Nice work at the line out. Looked like a knock on by BYU.
Knocked on. He's knocked on by blue. Option here, line out or scrum. Knocked on by blue. Line out.
Interesting choice there. And Cal opts for a line out instead of a scrum. And really what that says is we don't want to contest a scrum with BYU. And it's kind of a nod towards the power of that BYU pack. Nice clean take there. Miss pass to Battaglia, goes to Akuzi. And Lasike meets him at the gate.
And this is where BYU's had their issues being broken down on the left side of the field with Harry Adolphus, number 11 by Cal. This time, BYU's defense forces it back to the inside.
Now Kelly with some space. He's got to get support, though.
13 is Seamus Kelly for Cal. He is the team captain.
Patrick Coleman, 6'4", 250-pound, second row from Xavier. One of 3 players on the field for Xavier High School out of Brooklyn, New York. Battaglia one-on-one. Trying to get the corner, dumps it back inside.
It's picked off. Johnny Linehan there to pick it off, and he's driven out of bounds.
Superb cover tackle by Russell Webb. He saved a try there. Battaglia looking for support.
So Battaglia looks like he's going to get his second try of the match, gets forced out, dumps it off, and Johnny Linehan picks it off in midair, and he's forced out of bounds. Here's the sequence yet again.
Well, Battaglia trying to keep it alive. Linehan reads it perfectly, and look at Russell Webb. He's got to make this tackle. He does.
Webb just 5'7", 169, the sophomore from Hong Kong. We talked to head coach Jack Clark yesterday. He said, BYU has rugby players from rugby playing nations. We got a guy from Hong Kong.
They got 2 guys actually who played in Hong Kong. One from Ireland, Jack O'Byrne, went to Blackrock College there.
Step inside your 15, please. Inside. Thank you.
Little international flavor on both of these teams.
So a line out for the Cal Bears. Goes long, no one there. Cal takes over. Numbers on the outside for the Bears. Kelly offloads, finds number 15, Anderson. BYU picks it off, another turnover.
Referee blows a whistle. He's playing a penalty advantage, and wisely the ball gets slapped onto the ground by Luke Mackey, and they'll have a penalty kick.
All right, so at 12-7, and we're under 20 minutes to play in the 40-minute first half. Brian, talk to me about what BYU's doing right and what they need to work on.
Well, I think clearly BYU's defensive wall has actually had better alignment than Cal's. Cal's missed a few tackles, and they put a few balls on the ground. What you've seen so far is BYU playing really staunch defense, and you'd expect really Cal is the team that needs to step it up.
So as BYU kicks this one into touch, we set it down in the field, and Marty Snyder.
Let's check in with BYU Coach Smith real quick, and what do you think about your guys' play so far?
So far, so good. You know, it's hard and fast on both sides. I mean, they're all committed. They're hitting those rucks hard. They're going through the phases. I mean, it's tough going right now.
You're getting a lot of turnovers. Where you're converting enough of them for your liking?
You know, I always like to convert more, but we're playing against a little bit of a breeze. So all things considered, not too bad right now.
And guys, right now, I'll tell you, Todd, that wind is a factor down here on the field. It's pretty stiff blowing towards that one end zone.
All right, thank you, Marty. Brian, he talked about going through their phases, and we heard that earlier in the locker room. What's he talking about, Coach Smith, the BYU Cougars?
Well, every time you get the ball into the tackle area, you set up a ruck, and then the next piece of play off the back of that is called a phase. You're either going to run it around the side in what we call the pick and jam, or the ball's going to get passed off the back of that ruck. Those are phases, and what you're trying to do is gobbling up defenders as you go through phases to eventually create a mismatch in the corner. What we've seen so far is BYU going through those phases and getting the ball into the hands of the people on the outside. The last try that they scored was a perfect example of that.
Just under 15 minutes to play here in the first half. BYU has the lead 12-7.
Penalty kick here. Jake Anderson teeing it up right at the halfway mark with the wind at his back, and this is well within his strike range again. And watch how he falls into this routine, and it's the same every time. He'll wait 12 seconds between the time he stands and the time he takes a strike at this ball. It's the same over and over again. 11, 12, strike. Lets the wind take the ball, but it's not far enough. He just mishit it.
So Anderson pushes that one wide. It would have been worth 3 points as BYU holds on 12-7. Did you like that strategy?
I think so. With the way Jake Anderson kicked last week, you got to take points whenever they're available. And I think he's probably disappointed with himself. Poorly struck ball. He could jack that one into the stands if he hit it right and just mishit it. Well,
we saw him yesterday during walkthroughs, and he hit 3 or 4 of those in a row from the same distance, no problem.
Well, you just got to wipe those ones off the board and reboot. Nice little touch-finding kick there by Russell Webb, except looks like Lowry keeps it in. Well, that kick has to test somebody.
Yep.
And that one just kind of goes into no man's land, and it's just giving the ball back to BYU. You got to be clinical with those kicks.
Big Will Taylor able to bring that one down right at midfield as the Cougars set up another ruck.
3 of you, roll away. Need the tackle. You as well.
So once you tackle a player, you have to release him, but the ball carrier also has to release the ball, and the official right on top of it.
Absolutely. And he's calling a pretty clean game so far. And so far, we haven't seen a whole lot.
Jack Clark looking on.
Discipline, sorry.
So a line out for the Cougars, and Jack Clark saying that, you know what, I don't want to mess with BYU in their lineup because they're pretty strong on this line out play.
Thank you.
Zane Mendenhall will trigger the offense for BYU.
Watch the front.
Hold 7-7, stay.
Let's work it, let's work it.
Dave Collins. Pass out of the hands of the prop, sets up a great run.
Wisely pulled that pass back in. Here goes BYU with numbers on the outside. Beautiful pass to the inside.
Great cover tackle coming across by Cal. Numbers on the outside.
Good support by the Cougars as they set up the attack. Inside 5 meters.
You know, Cal's got to go low here. They got a submarine tackle. They got to get lower. And what's happening right now is BYU is getting the lower point of contact and the leverage.
Brian, is this all about, like in American football, winning it in the trenches?
Absolutely. You got to get low. Notice BYU gobbling it up inch by inch. They'll be happy to go through the phases until they cross the line.
Cougars push it across, and it is a try. A lot of hard work pays off for BYU. Put 5 more on the board.
And you put it right into BYU's wheelhouse. If you give them the ball and then just let their forwards gobble up the space in front of them, they're really hard to stop. Cal is outgunned when it comes to size and strength up front.
And the mild-mannered Coach Smith, he likes it.
Well, and look, if you're really keeping score of the turnovers, so far BYU has scored off of 2 turnovers and then just kind of a miskicked ball that went into nowhere, gobbled up by Cal forwards, and then they start to march it down the field. Cal has to do a much better job of protecting this ball, and sometimes it's about having the wizened heads on the field, and they lack that experience because of the injuries, because of the youth of this team, and somebody needs to right this ship.
So 17-7, conversion not completed as we come up on 10 minutes to play here in the 40-minute first half. Jack Clark told us yesterday, I just want to get to halftime, have it close, and be able to talk about what we do in the second half.
Well, they've left 3 points, really, where they could have had them from Jake Anderson. It could have been a 1-try difference right now, and Cal still has 10 minutes to answer back.
Unlike in sevens, the scoring team gets the ball kicked to them again, so BYU will take over on offense. And now is this a situation, do you think, where they want to milk the clock and just maintain this lead, or do you think they go for it and maybe play a little more aggressive?
Well, and there's another mistake there.
Knock on.
It's just killing Cal. And that's the youth. Harry Adolphus, just a sophomore. And he's a really well-skilled player, but he's looking upfield when he catches that ball. And take a look again, Anderson. Off the ball.
An offensive player cannot push or force the ball forward. If it does, it's a knock-on.
Absolutely.
So a scrum now to BYU, and we will listen in as our referee calls out the cans.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Hold!
So referee called ball coming straight out of the tunnel in that scrum. If the scrum half feeds the ball in and it comes shooting back out through that channel that's created by both of those teams, he resets the scrum. Cal looked pretty good in this scrum so far.
Come on, man. Crouch! Bind! Set!
Much cleaner this time for BYU. Lasike, he's cut down. Ball comes free, BYU holds on to it.
Penalty against Cal there, not rolling away in the tackle.
19 gold, row clear. Take your hands off.
19 gold. That's Nick Saliber, who's come in to play flanker for the injured Tion Donation. And if you're just joining us, Tion Donation wearing the number 8 jersey, one of the stalwarts all year, one of the few who's been injured for this Cal team, goes out in the first 10 minutes with some sort of arm injury.
So Johnny Linehan, who was the hero last year when BYU took down Cal in Provo for the national title, is going to line this one up for 3. Linehan, the sophomore from Auckland, New Zealand, and it hits the uprights.
Nice catch off the top there by Patrick Coleman.
He played the wind perfectly, did Linehan. You saw him feather that thing back around. It hits the uprights, and Cal able to capitalize on the situation and keep the 3 out. Big tackle there.
Oh, and it's turned over. Although offsides on Ada Elkington.
Elkington, just a freshman from Hamilton, New Zealand, after that big hit by number 12, Paul Lasike.
A sub as well for BYU, and it looks like Joe Pacuna has come in to play flanker.
Right call. That's good. Stay down here. Stay down here.
Coming up on 6 minutes to play here in the half. 40-minute halves in Rugby 15s. Let's go back and look at Johnny Linehan, who we said won it last year in BYU, the national title. The wind blowing out of the south. He started it hard right from our vantage point. Look at this. I mean, clips the very top of that and bounces straight out to Cal.
Yeah, and if the ball hits the uprights and comes back into play, it's a free ball.
Line out to the Bears. This one goes long, no one home. Linehan kicks it on. Adolphus takes over for Cal. They'll reset. And BYU scoops it up. Ada Elkington dishes out to the outside. Chris Wormley in for the try. And this is exactly what Cal's Jack Clark did not want to see, is BYU go on a streak like this.
Well, and BYU, nice job on the transition attack. Ada Elkington out to the wide open Chris Wormley, but you know, go back to that turnover again, and just a poor pass off the back lands in front of Jake Anderson.
A fortuitous bounce for BYU after that line out, and you got to give a lot of credit to Elkington. Picks it up, and a beautiful pass out to that wing. Chris Wormley got on his horse, and the young man from American Fork down the sideline for 5 more for the Cougars.
You got to feel for this Cal team. You know, they've really hung with BYU through certain stages of this game, but turnovers so costly.
So the score 22-7 as we go under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. We check in on the field with Marty Snyder.
Todd, you mentioned Tion Donation. He is out for the rest of the day. It's actually a shoulder injury, a right shoulder injury. He will not be available for Cal for the rest of this day, which is further bad news for Jack Clark.
So the junior from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, out of Laser High School. How big of a blow is this to the Cal Bears with Donation now gone for the day?
Well, really one of the most experienced guys in that forward pack. He was here playing in the forwards last year during this final.
So momentum clearly on the side of BYU, the defending champions. They lead it 22-7. Remember, just last week, they took down number 5 Navy 60-0. Barely broke a sweat, and as you pointed out, Brian, it was a driving rainstorm. Here today, temperatures in the mid-70s. The field is fast and hard, but the wind is blowing out of the south.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Cal, they're going to be against the wind in the second half as well. So they got to do something here in the next 4 minutes. Good ball off the top there.
Away from the leg. Lead the leg.
Nice drive. Back to basics. Cal on the drive. A great ball. Driving the ball downfield.
You're in the side.
Penalty advantage going Cal's way. Bosco.
Kyle Sumption called for the penalty.
6 and 8. Move 10.
Well, Akuzi wearing the number 12 jersey for Cal. He hasn't had a lot of reps this year, coming back from a pretty devastating injury and some miscommunication between he and Russell Webb.
11, thank you. We're good. Go ahead.
So he's going to kick this into touch. Does number 10, Russell Webb, the sophomore, originally from Hong Kong, American citizen.
It's got to be quick. Don't let him in. Don't let him in.
Closer, closer, closer.
Well, Harry Adolphus has been having a rough day and makes his exit for Cal from the left wing. And in place, Miles Honens wearing the 23 jersey, substituting.
Nice pass to the inside. BYU's defense stands tall. Another turnover.
But a penalty, though, against BYU. Bosco goes quickly.
Sense of urgency for the Cal Bears. They'll try to punch this one in. They trail at 22-7 on the outside. And again, passing comes back to haunt the Bears.
Well, you know, a curious decision by Bosco. They didn't have a numerical advantage on the corner. They had forwards that had really just eaten up a lot of the turf getting down towards that try line. And if you're me, I put the ball back in the hands of the forwards. I think Bosco made a mistake there.
Line out to the Cougars. Lasike back to the inside.
Cougar left.
Ball bounces up. Cal takes over.
Well, a fortuitous bounce. A knock-on goes into the hands of Cal. They got to convert this into points. Russell Webb, Seamus Kelly outside.
No one home for the Cougars defense. Inside, Cal gets the try.
And Honens makes his impact felt in the first minute on the field. And that's a huge score for Cal as the seconds tick off of this first half. Well, I tell you what, they had to have that one right there and still managed to almost bobble that. Honens, nice job finishing. That's what you get the big bucks for on the corner there.
BYU looked like they had this bottled up, just overcommitted on the defense, and he just cuts it back to the inside. So Honens replaces Harry Adolphus, and immediately, as you said, Brian, within a minute, makes his impact felt, puts 5 more on the board for the Cal Bears. Jake Anderson, now the young man from Tiburon, California, on for the 2-point conversion.
Well struck. Wow. That one's right in the wheelhouse there.
Right down the middle. So Jake Anderson puts it through as we have come to the end of the first half. It is BYU on top, 22-12, as we sit it down on the field and Marty Snyder.
Well, Coach, how much did that last try from Cal hurt?
It's not a good time to give up a try, but we'll regroup and we'll be okay in the second half. But yeah, not a good time to give it up, but you know, sometimes those things happen.
What will your main message to the team in halftime be?
We just got to keep going. We got to hit those rucks hard. Got to get down on the ball. Got a little bit of a breeze in the second half, so maybe we'll play more in their half, put the ball down in the corners, and make them, you know, do something with it, put them under some pressure.
BYU up 8 here, Todd.
All right, thank you very much, Marty. The Cougars lead at 22-14. BYU leading the way. What can they do in the second half? We'll be back to Rio Tinto to break down the first half highlights when we return on NBCSN.
Millions of hungry Americans are missing out on the good things in milk. But your small donation will get milk to their local food banks. You'll fill glasses with milk and hearts with hope. Donate now at milklife.com/give.
The look of success just got easier. Joseph A. Bank Traveler dress shirts and sports shirts. Now 3 for $109. 100% cotton, wrinkle-free traditional and trimmer fits. A fantastic limited time value, 3 for $109. Through Saturday at Joseph A. Bank.
Water has a persistence to cut through mountains and carve out valleys. It takes the same kind of determination to build your dreams. In 1873, Adolph Coors came here to build his, a dream of brewing a beer with pure Rocky Mountain water. And to this day, it's made the same way. Persistence. It has its benefits. Coors, the banquet beer.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN. Tonight, it's a Game 1 battle out west as Anze Kopitar leads the Kings against Getzlaf and the Ducks. The Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN.
If you're living with diabetes and have Medicare or private insurance, here is some great news. Call United States Medical Supply today, and we'll send you the smallest glucose meter in the world, absolutely free.
It only takes a speck of blood, and it gives me my results in 5 seconds.
And there's no coding for easier, more accurate results.
Don't let diabetes get in the way of living. Give us a call today at United States Medical Supply and get the smallest meter in the world for free.
I get the most amazing Mother's Day gift. It was a wonderful surprise.
This Mother's Day, surprise her with something different. Give Sherry's Berries, the freshest, juiciest strawberries, dipped in the finest ingredients. Choose from over 50 gourmet toppings, all delivered fresh to any home or office for Mother's Day.
When I opened the box, I was in heaven.
With this special offer, get a signature gift box of Sherry's Berries for just $19.99 and order now to double the berries for just $9.99 more.
I sent them to my mom. It was a really good deal.
Go to berries.com, click the mic in the upper right corner, and enter code SPORTS. Get these amazing strawberries for just $19.99 or double the berries for only $9.99 more.
You can't go wrong sending a box of Sherry's Berries.
Berries.com. Click the mic and enter code SPORTS. Or call 888-SWEET-90.
"20 nations will gather to play in the greatest rugby tournament in the world. They will play for a chance to win a coveted prize at rugby. And it will be here sooner than you think. It's the 2015 Rugby World Cup from England. And you will see it all on Universal Sports and NBC starting September of 2015. The growth of rugby, well, Brian, it's something that started out years and years ago. You go back to 1874, and here we are with sevens coming back to the Olympics in 2016 for Rio, and then the World Cup, of course, next year in England.
And one of the most noticeable changes on the domestic front here has been the explosion in youth rugby. Todd?
It has been fantastic. The first half of play is complete here, along with Brian Hightower. I'm Todd Harris, 22-14, BYU, the defending champions, on top. And really, this day is about a triple dip of rugby. We've got some high school and another D1 AA Cup taking place earlier today, where the Washington Huskies took on the Utah Valley University Wolverines.
Yeah, and here's a charge down kick by number 18, Juan Altaveras from the University of Washington, and UW takes this one 39-22 over Utah Valley University, and then some youth rugby as well.
The growth continues all the way down. Harriman High School from here in Salt Lake City taking on Red Mountain of Mesa, Arizona.
And look at the number 8 from Harriman, Khaleesi Moley, dotting one down, and way too much Harriman.
Much more when we return to Rio Tinto as Harriman gets the victory over Red Mountain. When we return to Salt Lake City, we'll break down the first half of play. It's BYU leading Cal 22-14 from Salt Lake City.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
After a long day of doing man stuff, me and the fellas trust new Dial for Men Power Scrub to give us a clean we can be proud of. Over-engineered with unstoppable orange oil and micro scrubbers.
On
It leaves us honkingly gorgeous. Dial for men, proudly over-engineered.
Nice car. Not so nice scratch. Wouldn't it be nice if removing ugly scratches from your car was this easy? Now with new Finish Scratch Doctor, removing surface scratches is easy. In fact, independent laboratory tests have proven Scratch Doctor to be the best scratch remover available. Scratch Doctor with advanced microtechnology also removes paint scrapes, scuffs, haze, and swirl marks. So get Scratch Doctor.
#1 rated Scratch Doctor, available at O'Reilly Auto, Lowe's, Pep Boys, Target, AutoZone, Walmart, and other leading stores.
Kiss me, you sexy thing. Touch me, baby, you sexy thing.
22-14 BYU on top of Cal, the Varsity Cup Rugby Championship from Rio Tinto. As we take a look at a very exciting first half of play here, Brian, BYU got the kind of start they were looking for with Paul Lasike.
Able to get a numerical advantage on the outside, and Josh Whippy just does a great job of splitting the defense, putting it in Lasike's hands. But then Andrew Battaglia answers back one-on-one against Jordan Lowry and is able to cross the line. But then turnovers. BYU has the ball again, and a great miss pass by Johnny Linehan out to Lowry. And then the forwards going to work for BYU, grinding one over in a multi-phase movement.
The big story, though, if you're a Cal fan, is you're still in this game despite a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, Otta Elkington out to Wernley.
And head coach Dave Smith from BYU will listen in and see what he thought of the first half.
Get up. Oh, there it is. Good effort, good effort. Stay in it. Yes. Go! Go!
And we check in now on the field, Marty Snyder.
Well, Coach Smith was yelling at one of these guys. Kyle Sumption is the captain for BYU and wasn't yelling at you guys, but that last try I know is not what you guys wanted. How would you assess the performance overall in the first half, Kyle?
You know, like you said, we didn't want to go into the halftime that way with them scoring, but, our first half I think we played real solid rugby. We've been on the front foot for a lot of the game, had a lot of good ball possession, tried to keep them in front of us. Overall, I'm proud of the boys. I think if we can just do what we did that first half, the second half we should come out okay.
You talked about the turnovers, and you got that from Cal. Didn't convert a lot of those. What was going on?
Luckily for us, I think our defensive line's been real good, putting a lot of pressure on them, making them kind of make some 50-50 passes, which has helped us out. That's kind of the thing that we like to optimize on and try to get points from. So,
best of luck in the second half.
Hey, thank you very much.
Todd?
22-14, Kyle Sumption, the captain of the BYU Cougars, will come out for the second half. 40 minutes to play to a title. Will it be Cal or will BYU defend? We'll find out when we return on NBCSN.
Millions of hungry Americans are missing out on the good things in milk. But your small donation will get milk to their local food banks. You'll fill glasses with milk and hearts with hope. Donate now at milklife.com/give.
Dig in. Because after a few icy seconds, you'll discover the light beer brewed for 21 days. And that's time well spent. When you want a real light beer, it's Miller time.
Formula One's elite descend on Europe to a land renowned for its beauty and its beasts. The Formula One Pirelli Spanish Grand Prix, live Sunday, May 11th on NBCSN.
I live alone, so when I slipped and fell in the kitchen last month and couldn't get to a phone, that's when I knew I needed Life Alert. With just one press of this button, I'm connected to the Life Alert Center, where I can get the help I need, even when I cannot reach a phone. With Life Alert, I'm never alone.
Call 1-800-921-7527 for your free Life Alert brochure. That's 1-800-921-7527.
This is the computer ICU. It's what happens to your computer when it gets infected, slows down, and crashes. And if you don't do something, your computer could wind up here in the computer graveyard. But it could be saved with mycleanpc.com.
Is your computer running slow? Are you frustrated with error messages, blue screens, computer freezes, and crashes? Then go to mycleanpc.com for your free diagnosis today. Then just activate the mycleanpc.com software to fix it in minutes. And computer specialists are available while you're online.
The best thing about mycleanpc.com was it had a free diagnosis.
My computer is 100% faster.
You know immediately what the problem is, and the problem is solved right then and there.
Download your free diagnosis today at mycleanpc.com.
Back in Salt Lake City, halftime, BYU leads Cal 22-14 Varsity Cup for the Rugby National Championship. As we check in once again down on the field, and Marty Snyder.
With Seamus Kelly, the Cal captain, let's talk about how critical was that last try right before halftime.
Yeah, it's definitely important. You know, I think it shows when we stick to our game plan and we take them through the phases, we could be effective.
I'm sure Coach Jack Clark's message was immediately about turnovers, correct?
Yeah, you know, that's not what we came in wanting to do. Obviously, we knew we had to limit our turnovers to play when we're playing a team as good as BYU, and you know, we weren't effective at doing that in the first half. So we got to really cut those down.
As good as they are, and the defending national champions, you spotted them 8 points here in the second half. Still a winnable match for you guys?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think if we stick to, you know, the conditions that we set forth before this game, I think we'll be all right.
If there's one thing you want to see you guys do better in the second half, what is it?
It's hold on to the ball, cut down those turnovers.
All right, thanks, Seamus, for your time. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Todd, there you go. Turnovers, huge factor for Cal here in the first half.
All right, thank you very much, Marty. No question about it. Brian, you talk about the turnovers. Jack Clark told us they couldn't have the turnovers. The wind picking up. They're down by only 8, though. So is that what you hang your hat on? We basically shot ourselves in the foot, but we only trailed by 8.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say, look at the scoreboard, guys. Despite how many times we've given BYU the ball, we're still in this thing. And there's one first drop there. Great pass, but dropped on the ground by Adolphus, and then Anderson puts one on the ground. And then a try-scoring opportunity. Jacko Burns spills it forward. An overthrow in the line-out. Just classic set piece. You got to win those things. Miscommunication. Anderson out to Adolphus. He puts one on the floor. You can see the frustration. You know, in some of the turnovers in the game, Todd, they're forced by the opposition. Some of the turnovers we've seen from Cal today, they are just mistakes that they've made without any opposition in their face.
And those aren't characteristic mistakes. As you look at the turnovers, California doubling up BYU, 10 turnovers in a 40-minute half. And as Marty talked with Seamus Kelly, their captain, said that is not who we are. So they'll try to clean that up and see if they can't put some more points on the board. Paul Lasike, has Cal done a respectable job? You know, they say you can never stop him, but you try to contain the guy.
Well, I've seen their number 7, Alec Gletzer, for Cal. He's been making some tackles in the open field, and that's what you got to do when you're the open side flanker. Aya Akuzi, wearing the number 12 jersey for Cal, has missed a few on Lasike, but he's got to put his body on the line. That's just what you have to do. Paul Lasike lines up in front of you. You got to put him on the ground.
Good look at Chris Wernley, the winger who had a try earlier on. So Lasike, the young man out of New Zealand, doubling up his time. The big question we had coming in this game was he is coming off a BYU football spring ball, not in the best shape of his life as far as playing rugby. Can he go the whole 80?
Well, I think he can, and the reason is because Cal has done him a great favor. They haven't put him in a turnaround position where he has to sprint down the field. They haven't put their kicks behind him and make him run and turn. And so the way that Cal is playing is, I think, keeping Lasike in this game for the full 80.
One noticeable injury. We will not be seeing any more of Tion Donation, as Marty Snyder reported. The Cal Golden Bear 8-man unable to go in the second half with a shoulder injury. So that is the one loss for Cal as they try to regroup right now. The wind certainly is going to be a factor as it continues to blow hard out of the south, but we've got 40 more minutes of Rugby 15, and Cal will kick this thing off, and we're underway 40 minutes away from a national champion.
Great job using the wind there. Cal regains its own restart.
So we'll see which team can strike first and fast. I know BYU coach David Smith saying they've got to get into a nice flow, get some scoring opportunities right off the bat. Cal certainly, Brian, as you said, would like to slow this thing down and stretch it out.
There's Russell Webb. He's got Anderson. Anderson, though, alone in the tackle. Good job getting the ball back out. Jack O'Byrne wearing the number 6 jersey at blindside flanker. Takes a little bit of a run. Bosco looking for help on the outside. He's got numbers.
BYU doing a good job of standing tall defensively.
This is what Cal wants to do, eat up some phases, but they're working pretty hard to not go very far, and they need to spring a run through this defense, and it's hard to get through today. And I think right now, if you're Jack Clark, you're just happy if you can keep the ball through a few phases. Good concentration by Ea Akuzi.
Cal maintaining possession here to start the second half. 40 minutes of play. BYU, your defending champions. Cal coming to this one with 26 national titles, looking for number 27.
Well, one of the things you want to do, if you can't go through a defense, go over them with a kick, but BYU is playing basically a 2 deep, 2 sweepers back there.
A big hit across the middle as Lasike comes up.
Tackle was okay.
Big hit on Seamus Kelly there. Yeah, Lasike gets a shoulder on him. Just reads it perfectly. It goes for the wrap. That's a great hit.
Seamus Kelly, quite a football player in his own right, coming out of high school with the nickname of Famous Seamus, as we check in with Marty Snyder, who's with Coach Clark.
Well, Jack, considering all the turnovers there in the first half, pretty happy with where you are right now?
Geez, I thought the forwards played pretty well and gave us a chance to win, you know, but of course, we didn't hold our nerve very well in the backs, and we turned over a lot of possession. I think we had a pretty good half in the forwards, and we got a chance. I mean, it's going to be hard.
But the key is not turning it over, right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Jack Clark, we'll let him get back to work here. Feels like he's in pretty good shape considering all those turnovers in the first half, Todd.
No question about it. Marty Snyder drawing tough duty there. I thought that was going to go a little more difficult than it went. Jack Clark not used to being down 22-14 at the half, and I was surprised when he said to us yesterday in our meeting, we're the underdogs here. How do you come in with those 26 national titles and the reputation they have, the reigning Sevens national champion? You come into BYU and you say, we're underdogs to the Cougars.
Well, the guys wearing the black shirts on the field today just are a very accomplished side. A lot of these guys were here last year during this final. And I think because of the injuries, Cal doesn't have really the pick of its 15 players. To get the ball back there. And one of the things that's going right for Cal is their scrum, and it certainly makes logical sense. 2 of their coaches, Tom Billups and Mike McDonald, have between them 115 international caps. As we see Seamus Kelly, he's the other bright spot.
Play on.
Kelly doing some great work there, making 4 BYU Cougars miss.
Paul Bosco looking for some help, but it's slow to get there.
Bosco takes some punishment as he crosses the midfield line. Nice clean out there, and the Cal Bears are pushing him forward.
Well, I think Bosco got away with holding the ball there in the tackle area. He waits for help to get there, and it just does. And again, ball going. Nice pass by Kelly through the legs, out to the corner.
Johnny Linehan doing a great job there for BYU, maintaining the defensive line.
Well, a penalty here, and this is kickable range for Jake Anderson, despite being into the wind, and you wonder, even though it's from the corner, will he tee it up? Look at Bosco. There's nobody coming on a support line. You got to get help when you're out there, and that's a great tackle. Look at that. He fends off Josh Whippy. He puts a shoulder into him, and he just buys some time, and Cal arrives just in the nick of it. Well, I think that's smartly done.
Yep.
With the conditions today, that's a tough kick into the wind.
Wind has come down just a little bit from the first half.
You know, here's the other thing. Last year in the first half, knocking on the door 5 meters outside the try line, Cal went for 3 points instead of a try, and I think this is a nod to their forwards. They're saying, you know, as Cal coach Jack Clark said, the forwards played a good half. Might as well give it to them and see if they can put a rumble on. And you see him going to work. Cal forwards.
They had some success grinding it out, going old school rugby at the end of the first half. BYU unable to keep him out. Here comes Cal again. Numbers on the outside to the corner. And it'll be another try for Cal as Battaglia takes it across for the Bears.
Well, credit Russell Webb. I don't know how he got rid of that ball, but somehow he manages to. He eats up some defenders. And look at this job by the number 10, wearing the scrum cap. How does he get rid of it? Out to Ea Akuzi. Anderson finds a wide open Battaglia, and that is exactly the kind of start that Cal needs to have. And there's a good look at Coach Clark.
Yes!
Yeah. So now just down by 3 points as Anderson will line up this 2-point conversion. He can cut it to 1 with 33 minutes to play in this one.
Well, you know, 22 national championships for Jack Clark. And you got to think the way he's talked about this team this year, what they've been through, the resilience that their team has had to show, this one might be the most meaningful for him.
Jake Anderson, young man out of Tiburon, California, he pushes this one left. So the wind picks up just a little bit. And it is no good. It remains 22-19, BYU on top. I want to remind you, Formula One's elite descent on Europe. Team Mercedes continues to dominate. Will Sebastian Vettel rebound in a land known for raging bulls? The Formula One Pirelli Spanish Grand Prix is live Sunday morning, May 11th at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NBCSN.
The confidence in a rugby game so important, and now Cal maybe with their tails up a little bit, and you wonder if you start to plant the seeds of doubt into BYU, what will happen?
Been a long time since BYU trailed in a match, and here they are trying to shut down the offense, and a near turnover again for Cal. They recover.
Just a miscommunication there. Ea Akuzi looking for Battaglia on the corner. Seamus Kelly had done a nice job dicing the defense, taking a tackle. Oh, great job there by Jack O'Byrne concentration-wise, but it's from a knock-on. And another turnover inside their own territory. Look at Kelly, just grinds it up. Battaglia coming in to help. Akuzi thinks he's still on the corner.
And there's the knock-on right there. So it'll be a scrum to BYU with number 9, Luke Maki, the young man out of South Africa, triggering the offense.
Well, if I'm the defensive back line for Cal, I want to come up smoking hot and try to take any speed from Paul Asike before he hits the line.
Elkington dumps it off. Collins. And now BYU's going to go to work. On the chip. Linehan puts it in there, and Akuber's down there, unable to come up with it.
And just an unkind bounce. It looked like over on the right-hand side, Jordan Lowry. It was a pretty nice little kick there. You look for that ball to
backspin.
Yeah, you look for the ball to take a couple rolls and bounce up. All it needs is downward pressure by a hand in the in-goal area. Lowry can't get a hand on it.
Head coach David Smith looking on. Jordan Lowry, young man out of Highland, Utah, unable to track that one down.
Scrum.
So the ball goes
What do you call? Knock on.
dead in goal. And so Cal's going to have a scrum. And like I said before, I like the way Cal's scrum has shown itself so far today.
5 meter.
And with coaches like Tom Billups and Mike McDonald, the leading cap winner for the United States Eagles of all time. That's quite an assistant coach to have. A free kick, not pushing straight. Paul Bosco goes quickly. Referee didn't see it though, and he'll bring it back to the mark.
So Bosco tried to get this thing restarted quickly, and the official didn't see the quick touch, so he brings him back. Big break for BYU.
One of the tenets of a scrum is the front row has to push straight. Referee awards a penalty to Cal because he says BYU's front row was pushing from an angle. Now this is all about field position here. Keep in mind you've lost the left foot of Harry Adolphus, so the kicking duties now primarily fallen on the hands of Jake Anderson to go both directions. If Cal gets this, I like to see them pump it way deep down inside the BYU zone. Akuzi wisely keeps the ball.
There it is, there it is, there it is. There it is.
Turnover ball.
And a nice open field run. Maki puts it down for the Cougars. Just when you sense that Cal had taken over the momentum, BYU pounces on the turnover and turns it into 5.
Well, a great piece of work by the BYU forwards. Take a look here. Starts with a turnover, a choke tackle, and a counter ruck. Maki picks it up. And transition defense, so hard to go from attacking to defending. You've seen this before in sevens, Todd, how turnovers can just destroy you. Maki just pins his ears back.
And remember, on Rugby, the conversion comes straight out from where the downward pressure was applied on the try, so a relatively easy 2-point conversion for BYU. And with 28 minutes and 40 seconds to play in this one, they now have a 10-point lead.
Here's Akuzi. He goes in, and the ball quickly taken by BYU. They have rights to the ball. They're first there at the tackle, and Maki just makes Russell Webb miss.
Great job by Captain Kyle Sumption, who was trailing the action, looking for the offload, and Cal had to respect that. He gives him a little dummy straight up the middle.
Nice take by BYU, a little bit of a shield in front of him.
Keep your eye on him.
So BYU in control, up by 10 with the ball.
Tanner. Jesus, got to be positive grade.
Pass back. Hold here, black hold. No.
Johnny Linehan kicks this one deep, and I mean deep.
That is a brutal kick because it goes 4 meters in front of the Cal goal line.
We'll check in with Marty.
Todd, I'm on the other side of the stadium from you, hanging out with Hank Taylor. He's Will Taylor's dad, and Mom Kristen. I wouldn't name everybody, Todd, but there's 17 of them, so I'm not going to name everybody. But it's good to see you guys here. I understand it's your second trip to Salt Lake in like 2 weeks, right? Graduation last week and Rugby this week.
That's right. Against Navy last week for graduation and back out here again. Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
Now, we want to talk to you because you're actually headed to Korea tomorrow. You're in the U.S. Army. Yeah. This is a great send-away present, isn't it?
It is. It's great. Nothing better to watch my son and the team get after it before I head to Korea.
Now, you know they're undefeated in national championships, right? You know, they're 3-0, so they're going to go for their 4th one here.
It is, and Will's been on those 3 teams, so this would be great for him and then all the boys if they got it again.
Is it nerve-wracking, Mom, to watch him play rugby? Because that's a very hard sport, isn't it?
It is. I want him to get out without an injury, too. A championship and no injuries would be great.
That's typical Mom. Brian, your mom was like that. Just don't get injured, son. That's all I really care about, right?
Exactly. Every mother's dream is to have her son walk off the field after a rugby match without any blood on him, nothing broken.
But, you know, she did put the caveat in there, and a national title would be nice, too.
And if you're bleeding, but you get a national championship, that's acceptable.
Safe travels to the Taylor family as they make the journey. There's their son, number 6, Will Taylor, just graduated last week from BYU. The young man out of the Nashville, Tennessee area actually came to BYU thinking he might be playing for Dave Rose and the BYU basketball team, and it turned out rugby was a better fit.
Absolutely, and he's played a bunch of positions. Last year at this same game, he was playing number 15 fullback, which means now you got a person in the forwards who can really distribute the ball in hand, and it'd be nice to see number 6 get some open field running, see what he can do with that rock.
Let's go, let's go. Hey, defense,
So here we go with another scrum, and we'll listen in once again on the commands.
Crouch! Bind! Stand! Hold here, Black, hold.
So scrum to Cal, picked up off the back by Jack O'Byrne, who's gone to the number 8 position from the blindside flanker. A nice little rumble by Jack O'Byrne, who's looking for soft shoulders and found him.
And even the Cougars, black and blue, are not talking about the jerseys. So Cal with sense of urgency with 25 minutes to go in this one. They trail by 10 to the defending national champions here at the Varsity Cup.
Cal needs to be a little bit more dynamic on attack and eat up some more defenders. They're allowing the defense from BYU to creep up during these phases. They got to do something clinical, and they got to do something with a little bit of speed through this line.
Stay. Give it to him! Give it again!
Cal doing a nice piece of work here. Now this is a situation Cal's got to maintain possession. They cannot afford a turnover right now, Brian.
There's a nice rumble by Tanner Moore, met by the shoulders of Will Taylor. Seamus Kelly. Nice cover tackle there by Johnny Linehan. Kelly is one of the hardest guys on the field to take down.
And you saw just a moment ago, Zane Mendenhall, the hooker for BYU, absolutely laying out a Cal player.
Late charge, okay? After the ball went away, you hit him with your shoulder. No, it was late. Go get blood, all right? Sub for blood. Move 10.
Blood sub!
So a blood substitution means that Mendenhall goes out, but he can return to the game once the bleeding is taken care of.
As Zane Mendenhall comes out, he's got to get the blood taken care of. A late shoulder charge is going to be a penalty to Cal. Well, once again, instead of going for the tee, Anderson looks to the corner for a Cal lineout.
Mendenhall, lucky didn't end up in the sin bin on that one.
Zane Mendenhall, cousins with the coach of the BYU football team, Bronco Mendenhall. There he is, getting a little bit of gauze stuffed up that left nostril.
I'll tell you what, the Mendenhall family on a whole, some of the toughest folks I've ever met. Marty and Bronco and Becky and the whole clan, they are some tough folks, great athletes all the way around. As we return to action, 23 minutes, 50 seconds to go in this one. BYU on top by 10.
Stay with the drive. Just stay with the drive. Stay with the drive.
And this is where Cal's had success. You talked about it, Brian, old school rugby.
Stay with it.
Well, you can hear the microphones from the Cal sideline there. Want him to stay with that drive. And Coach Tom Billups, you can hear him resonating through Jack Clark's microphone. Stay with it, do it again. He wants the ball in the forward's hands.
No, for your team. You're in charge of these guys, yeah?
Let's go. Stay with it. Stay with the drive. Just stay with the drive. Stay with the drive. Just stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. Corner again. Corner again.
Well,
take the front, please, Tom.
No doubt about what Coach Clark wants here. You know, he was a forward himself for the national team, a great rugby player in his own right. I would have trusted him with the ball in hand for sure.
Question. Critical time for both teams. BYU's defense needs to stand tall. Cal needs a try here in the worst kind of way.
This would be huge for Cal. And a little bit of a rumble going. They'll keep the ball tight.
You remember in the first half, this is exactly what BYU did to Cal in almost the same spot. They just grounded out, Brian, as you said, inch by inch until they got the 5.
Yeah, and you know, look at guys like Tanner Moore, George Brame, and Scott Walsh. This is when they need to step up. Bosco goes outside. They got Seamus Kelly coming inside on a hard switch line, but it's read well by the BYU defense.
On the outside, they'll attack it again. This one top and knocked on, and BYU dodges yet another bullet by Cal.
Great defense by BYU, and Josh Whippy comes up hard. Ea Akuzi trying to make something happen here. That's Anderson, goes quickly.
And Whippy, number 15, the young man out of Fiji, kicks it out.
Well, you know, I think Jack Clark would like to see the forwards keep going through some phases. The ball going out to the corner right now hasn't worked out for Cal. Put some forwards in the back line. Let them run some darts into the midfield of this attack.
Line out to Cal.
But it's knocked forward by Alec Gletzer.
Play the advantage for BYU. It's big Cody Thompson. 6 feet, 250, rumbling forward.
Gletzer, number 7, doing all the hard work at that breakdown area and using the wind. Johnny Linehan unleashes a monster kick. Boy, twice in a row, too.
Linehan, remember, kicked the extra 3 points to win it against Cal last year for the national title in Provo, and he comes up huge yet again.
An absolute precision off the boot of Johnny Linehan.
There. Had a little something going on the far side.
Wow, so Jack Clark trying to decipher how they're going to handle this with BYU with a lineup. We check in with Marty.
And Todd, trying to win another national championship. We've talked about how storied this Cal program is. In fact, when Clint Eastwood was making the movie Invictus, there you see the picture of Jack and Clint Eastwood hanging out at practice. He actually came to Cal practices, hung out, wanted to get a feel for how rugby actually worked, went to a few games, gave the team a motivational speech at one point. He was really into it, but it was really Cal was the impetus for getting the movie done, and he was at every practice he could get to just to learn a little bit more about how rugby was played.
You can't play soft when Clint Eastwood comes to watch you play.
Unbelievable steal there by Kyle Sumption, the captain for BYU.
Oh, and up the middle, Linehan finds Whippy, and another try for the Cougars.
Well, the pass goes into Whippy's hands. Looked like Jake Anderson was going for the intercept. There's his brother, Jared Whippy. Take a look here. Jake Anderson looking for the intercept. Oh, instead of playing defense, he calculates poorly.
Look at that. Linehan puts it right on the mark, though.
A great pass. David Smith was talking earlier this week about how he was scared sometimes Linehan tries to do too much with the ball in hand. Some of those missed passes looked like they were vulnerable for a pickoff.
Jared Whippy, the brother of Josh Whippy, who just scored, unable to go today because of a broken thumb. And he's a big loss, but his brother stepped up. Wow. Just when you thought Cal was seizing the momentum back and driving, BYU comes back, and this should be a relatively easy conversion for number 10, Johnny Linehan.
Well, you go all the way back to the other side of the field to where Cal was knocking on the door.
Linehan converts. So it's now 36-19. BYU on top. 18:50 to play in this one as the Cougars look to remain national champions. California now. They talk about the way they play, Brian, and they're a methodical team. Does Jack Clark now need to open things up a little bit as we look at this play one more time?
No, in fact, this is rare for people who know me, but I'd say keep it tight. Keep the forwards involved. It seems like BYU has really got the number of these Cal backs. Great pass there. Again, we see another look at that Whippy try.
And BYU did a great job on that last play. They got Battaglia, who was there in space on defense, but he had to defend really two men. Chose the outside man, and as Whippy came up the middle, perfect pass from Linehan. 5 more points for BYU. The conversion good by Linehan. So 36-19, Cougars on top of the Bears.
And look, if you're Cal right now, you get a few points back at a time. You score one try. You don't look at the scoreboard. You don't worry about 17 points. You worry about the yard in front of you.
It's 5.
We haven't seen substitutions yet, and it's a reflection of how shallow that bench is on the Cal side because of injuries this year. Well taken off the top.
Release back! Release!
Penalty
this man
against BYU.
Release.
Not releasing.
The ball carrier take it to the ground. You've got to release him, and the ball carrier has to release the ball.
Anderson will hoof this one. Tricky kick, a real narrow angle to get it into touch. Anderson does a pretty nice job there.
Release, gentlemen, release in the tackle.
Well, there you see it. The Rugby 15's all-time national champions, and California leads by quite a margin, 26 over BYU's 3. Head coach Smith looking for number 4 today, and Jack Clark still with about 16.5 minutes to go. See if he can turn the fortunes of the Cal Bears around. But you talk about the fonded program of the Cal Bears. They still are the gold standard, the national champions in CRC Rugby 7s. If they'll defend that next month here on NBC and NBCSN.
Yeah, but Todd, I think we're looking at a new era in college rugby. Seamus Kelly, nice job getting the ball back to Battaglia. He'll be first on scene for the ruck.
Quicker pace now with the Cal Bears.
Come on, Jay! Come on, Jay!
Well defended there. Lasike, so hard to get through today. He's played great, although it looks like he's cramping a little bit.
Lasike slow to get up for BYU, number 12.
No challenge.
That, you know, he's played 65 minutes so far, and we talked about it earlier. It might be taking its toll.
Well, we asked him point blank, can you go the full 80 minutes? He was quick to say, no way.
Yeah, he said, I don't think so.
Numbers outside.
Seamus Kelly, you can hear through the ambient noise over there, says, stay wide, man. You know, and that's Miles Honan, who's a sub himself, hasn't got a whole lot of starts this year. Cal playing through a penalty, though, so they get the ball back and line out at the 5-meter mark. This is huge. This is a must-score chance for Cal. They got to take a clean ball off the top. The throw has to be perfect. Get away with one there, and a great job getting over towards the line.
Stay here, Black. Hold. Yep, go ahead.
This is forwards territory here. They gotta get low though, and BYU is getting under them.
You talked about BYU submarine. They did just that on that play. Now Cal going backwards, and the Cougars come up and just play some tremendous defense in the middle of the field.
Yeah, they got to get pods outside of that breakdown area and use their forwards. Oh, great hit, though. And you can see Lasike, sorry, check that. That's Pakula. Pakula gets under Tanner Moore. You got to get leverage in this sport. If you're running the ball, you got to get under your defender.
Not many men in rugby to go through Pakula or Lasike going that high. Now on the inside, a quick dummy.
Russell Webb, nifty little move there, looking for the line.
Wow, they just cannot, the Bears cannot move it.
And Cal is taking a static standing ball from the back. They got to be moving forward onto the ball. BYU comes forward. He's doing a great job of withstanding some great hits by Paul Lasike.
Seamus Kelly has just been pounded and finally inside out, and Cal gets the try. They punch it across with Russell Webb.
They had to have it there, and they made the work kind of hard on themselves. Going through phases here, Bosco to Gletzer, and look at him just keeping that hand available. Russell Webb splits the defense, and he gets the mismatch he wants, facing up against that tight head prop in front of him. There goes Webb, not a chance to stop him from going over the line. Cal had to have it, and they got it. This conversion should be easy money to put it within 10 for Cal. They got to do some work, though. 13 minutes and some change counting down. Clock's working against Cal.
Russ, get out gate.
So the 2-point conversion is up and good. It is a 10-point lead with 12:50 to go. We check in with Marty Snyder.
Todd, you guys have talked about Paul Lasike and just trying to get into physical shape to play rugby, which is actually a lot more challenging than people would think. He said, actually, football is about quick bursts. Rugby is about the endurance, and you see him hobbling around on the field just trying to get his win. You guys mentioned about trying to get through 80 minutes. This is the first time he's tried that all season long. He started the match today. He's been a sub all year long to this point. He told me the worst part about it is you actually just have to play the game to get into game shape. There's no other way to really do it, but rugby completely different from football, especially for Paul Lasike, a guy who's a fullback and has spurts of energy at times on the football field.
No question about it. Nice bounce for Cal as they maintain possession as we come up on 12 minutes to play. BYU leads this one by 10.
Tanner Moore sets it back off the kickoff. Cal gets a lucky break. Anderson sees space outside.
Oh, and a big hit as Josh Whippy comes up and lays it
forward. I don't know how Gletzer got a hold of that ball. Somehow he did, and saves the day for Cal.
Alec Gletzer doing a fantastic job for the Bears.
He's just cleaning up trash all over the field. Bosco looks weak, too flat on the attack. Now Webb goes to Gletzer. They got Seamus Kelly in the corner, but there's bodies in front of him. You know, one of the reasons Lasike has to play 80 minutes is because BYU's had injuries as well. Seki Kofe, their number 12, tore a pectoral muscle.
BYU comes up with it. Lasike now with the ball, gives a dummy.
Great job by Nick Saliber, just trying to take down Lasike. He does. Oh, nice turnover, a counter ruck there, ball on the ground. Cal gives it up, but gets it right back.
Cougars unable to locate the ball as it comes free. Now they'll set up on the outside.
Numbers here.
2-on-1.
Great job by Jack O'Byrne, and that is Honens. He splits a tackle. Cal has to get this ball to the ground. And they do.
Their players slow to get back for the support after that long run. Coming up on 10.5 minutes to play.
This is where fatigue sets in. Fresh legs, though. Oh, Nick Saliber spills one. That looked like try time. Saliber can't find the handle. So hard. When you're breathing so hard, you're so tired to have your hands available and to catch that ball.
How about this hit one more time? Take a look at Josh Whippy, number 15, giving the business to Cal. Oh.
Andrew Battaglia there, and great pass. Bam. Whippy's been doing it all day, and he's kind of a slender figure. Whippy was last year wasn't even available. He was doing a mission in Kiribati with his twin brother. Well, you could see how much of an impact he's had. Lasike's in the game. I mentioned Seki Kofe out with a torn pec, but his brother Jared, Josh Whippy's brother Jared, also broken thumb. Lasike's got to put in some hard minutes now. His hands are on his knees. I'd run straight at him.
Oh, wow, are you kidding me? Gletzer once again right there, but he takes the full brunt as BYU maintains control after that scrum.
Well, it's unfortunate. Cal needed something to happen.
How about Alex? Oh,
that's Joe Pakula. Just, you know, he looked like he was going to run around Gletzer and just instead takes a step right towards him and punishes the tackler.
So Gletzer takes the punishment. The ball goes into touch. It'll be a line out for the Cougars, and they'll make a slow walk down here with possession. The clock running at 8:50 to go in this one.
Yeah, no hurry to get to the line. And this is BYU milking the clock.
And Brian, this is really your one opportunity to catch your breath in rugby. Gletzer just absolutely drilled on that last play. 2 substitutions coming for Cal.
So that's Paul Bosco wearing the number 9 jersey and Nick Saliber exiting. Nick Boyer wearing the number 20 scrum half.
And somehow BYU comes away with it with big number 8, Kyle Sumption, the captain.
You know, credit Russell Webb. He's 5'7" and takes down Kyle Sumption, 6'2", 240, running straight at him. That's a brave tackle by Russell Webb. All right, so if you're Cal, you got 8 minutes.
Yep.
It's not the end of this game. You hoof this ball down, you get it deep in there, and you start working away. You got to get over for a try and put it within 3.
And they'll kick it into touch, so Cal will take a nice long stroll, and we'll check in with Marty.
Well, Coach Smith, how do you feel about it, and how can you close them out here in the last 8 minutes?
Yeah, you know, it's still tough going. The boys have done quite well. We've taken our chances when they've come. We just got to weather another little bit of a storm here and not get on the wrong side of the referees looking for ways to ping us here at the minute. So we got to stay patient and just be smart. Keep possession of the ball and keep Cal back in the corner. Here we go here now.
Oh, the offload was almost picture perfect with head coach Dave Smith giving us play-by-play.
Cal in transition. Two knock-ons, but referee played through the advantage.
Joel Pakula, the man on the spot, number 17 for BYU. It is getting hard hitting down there.
Cal's got to get a turnover here, and they do. Anderson has got to keep this in play. He's got numbers. Brad Harrington just comes into the game. There's Russell Webb, the dummy. And Battaglia puts it on the ground.
And another turnover dooms this drive. Look at this one more time. BYU looked like they were off and running, and unfortunately for the Cougars, Jordan Lowry unable to handle the offload.
And then Anderson gets the ball, and he turns it over. Somehow Cal gets it back. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Cal. That ball needs to be in front of Battaglia. He looks like he might have overrun Russell Webb. Wow.
So Maki now will trigger the scrum.
Bind. Set.
It's been a brave Cal scrum today. They've done well. It's a collapsed scrum, but the ball is already out. Linehan.
Move.
It's a penalty against Alec Gletzer for putting his hands on the ball, not rolling the. Keep the ball.
Whippy. And there is a dynamic duo for the Cougars as Josh Whippy and Lasike doing work at midfield.
Will Taylor with the ball and 17 family members in support.
Taylor going for the corner, taking down right short of the line.
It's a penalty though. He can't touch the ball while he's on the ground, close to pay dirt.
So Taylor runs out of gas about a yard short of the try line, but what an effort. And maybe the penalty was worth it because there was no one there in support for the Cougars.
On your feet. On your feet to play it.
Take a look at this. Pakula off the back and a nice little dish of the backdoor pass to Taylor, trying to stretch his legs. The Taylor family.
After 75 minutes of work, Mom and Dad are excited. We're glad you weren't hurt, but could have just taken it another yard.
That's it for Taylor's long legs. That's only one more step.
Line out to the Bears. 5 minutes to play in this one.
Harrington looking for help. He'll put the ball on the ground. Boyer digs it out. Something special has to happen for Cal. And there's the special player they need, Seamus Kelly.
Kelly running through the defense of the Cougars.
Looking for support, still doesn't find it. Does the right thing with the ball. Oh, and a knock-on after a great run by Seamus Kelly.
You can't ask much more from your captain.
Somewhere on the East Coast in Savannah, Georgia, at a road stop, his parents, John and Janine, are holding their breath, driving back from a graduation at Florida State for his brother.
Look at that run. Beautiful.
Great step. We talked about his feet earlier before the game, and just nobody in support. And we've seen that a couple times, Todd, from Cal today. Great breaks, but nobody coming on those blistering support lines.
Close the gap down.
Little things have made the difference today. It's not just turnovers. It's some of the decisions, some of the way the ball hasn't found touch. Some of those support lines where the people just expect Seamus Kelly sometimes to score when he has the ball in his hands, and they slow down.
But I think so many people miss Kelly on that run that the guys stopped running, thinking they're going to set up the ruck anytime, and he just kept moving downfield. BYU now with the ball at midfield. 3:40 to play in this one.
Side entry on Gletzer. You got to take your chances at the breakdown area. 3 minutes and change ticking off the clock. Linehan will pump it deep down into the Cal zone inside their 22.
Well, the foot of Johnny Linehan has been maybe the MVP for the Cougars today, the way he has been surgical in where he's been able to place the ball. It'll be a line out now, and the Cougars, as you see them, taking a nice leisurely stroll down to get into position.
They are, and if there's anything up the sleeve of this line out from coaches Mike McDonald and Tom Billups, they got to put a jumper in the right place now, and they got to steal this ball off the top from this BYU line out.
2 minutes and 50 seconds away from a national title of the BYU Cougars. They play it safe.
Lasike rumbles through two, stays on his feet.
Oh, great hit. Look at Kyle Sumption, stays on his feet, takes a huge hit from Cal. Pakula offloads. BYU numbers on the outside. Whippy, he'll take it in for the try.
toll that this game has taken. It's been a brave performance by the front row from Cal. They've been stretched, but there are really no reserves to bring on for them, and they've stretched this defense. And once again, out of the hand of Joe Pakula, and Ara Elkington finds Whippy on the corner. And great job with the ball in hand. This is classic BYU rugby. I talked to their coach, Kimball Kerr, and he said when they play their best, it's just simple rugby, ball in hand, let it do the work, run straight ahead, and boy, they've really put a stamp on their style of play today.
Paul Lasike now coming out of the game on the sideline, receiving congratulations. Well, he didn't go the whole 80, but they're pretty happy with the 78.5 that he did turn in.
And sets up that try, really, with that blistering run, and he's got defenders hanging all over him.
So Johnny Linehan in no rush. The wind has shifted. It's now pushing to the right. Linehan, he works this one through perfectly. So everything going the way of the BYU Cougars with less than a minute to go as we take a look at the try by Whippy one more time.
Great pass there and almost forward, but the assistant referee is right there and says that's a good ball. And Whippy, 2 tries on the day. Man, well, it's been a great game. You got to take your hat off to Cal. This brave young Cal side stretched to the limit through injury this year. You know, this is regardless of the outcome, this is a great day for college rugby.
Another step in the growth. Jack Clark called this a David versus Goliath matchup, and today it was a lot closer than that. BYU on top, 43-26 as the final seconds tick away, and the Cougars in very good shape.
Use it!
It'll be a penalty. Can't end the game on a penalty, and so one more chance. Quickly goes Boyer. Can they score one time? Harrington, and this is just punctuation. The result is going to be set in stone. Great way to end this game for this young Cal team. And that's a try for Cal.
So Cal gets a final try, 43-26, now turns into 43-31, but a foregone conclusion. And I'm sure David Smith not happy to see them get that last try across, but the big story will be BYU is going to walk away with this title. And for Will Taylor's father, a long flight tomorrow as he heads to Korea. But the Cougars can rise and shout. They are national champions yet again.
Well, Cal had their chances today, but they had to be clinical. And when we talked to Jack Clark yesterday, he was right, you know, and he called it. He said, you can't give them chances. You can't turn over the ball. And we saw it too many times today that Cal really was its own worst enemy, but you got to give them credit. They came with their shoulders. They played hard. They put the hits on. But just at the end of the day, stretched.
No question about it as we send it to Marty Snyder, who's with our winning coach, David Smith.
A relieved David Smith, and he gets congratulations from the rest of the Cal coaching staff. What was the difference today, Coach?
You know, I think we just probably had a little bit more than they had, but credit Cal. I mean, they made us work for it. I mean, we had to go right till the last minute. You know, our boys have worked hard for it, and I think today they really wanted it. Their skill came through. Their physicality came through when we had to be physical, because you always have to beat Cal, you've got to be physical. You've got to be able to meet them at the gate, knock them back. If you don't do that, you're going to be on the wrong side of the ledger. Today we were able to do that. We were able to, you know, be smart when we had to. Johnny Linehan, you know, pumped the ball down in the second half, kept them honest back here in their half where we wanted them to be. And all in all, I think our boys just, you know, did what they had to do to win, but they made us work for sure.
You lost so much senior leadership after winning the national championship last year. Are you kind of surprised you guys were able to pull it off this year?
Not really. I mean, yeah, we did lose a lot of senior leadership, but we have leadership here. We have skill here, and guess what? We just got another year under our belts with these younger fellas, so I'm real happy about that.
And guess what? BYU wins another national championship, Todd.
No question about it. The Cougars are the champions in 2014. We'll be back. We'll talk with players and more coaches when we return to Rio Tinto. The BYU Cougars, the 2014 Varsity Cup national champions. We'll have much more when we return to Salt Lake after this.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
The look of success just got easier. Joseph A. Bank Traveler dress shirts and sports shirts. Now 3 for $109. 100% cotton, wrinkle-free traditional and trimmer fits. A fantastic limited time value, 3 for $109. Through Saturday at Joseph A. Bank.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN. Tonight, it's a Game 1 battle out west as Anze Kopitar leads the Kings against Getzlaf and the Ducks. The Stanley Cup playoffs are on NBCSN.
I live alone, so when I slipped and fell in the kitchen last month and couldn't get to a phone, that's when I knew I needed Life Alert. With just one press of this button, I'm connected to the Life Alert Center, where I can get the help I need, even when I cannot reach a phone. With Life Alert, I'm never alone.
Call 1-800-921-7527 for your free Life Alert brochure. That's 1-800-921-7527.
The only thing better than sending Pro flowers this Mother's Day is the call you receive when they arrive.
Oh, you absolutely made my day. They're beautiful.
Give Mom something to smile about with a dozen roses for just $19.99. That's a 50% savings. Order now, and Mom also gets our elegant glass vase. Hurry, supplies are limited. Or double the roses and add this premium pink vase and spa trio kit for just $9.99 more. Take advantage of this exclusive TV offer. Go to proflowers.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, enter defense in the box.
It makes me feel really good knowing that I've made her happy with flowers.
Well, the flowers always looked big and beautiful and pretty.
I'm thinking about you, I care about you, and so I send the very best.
This amazing TV offer is 50% off retail pricing. Go to proflowers.com, click on the mic, enter defense in the box, or call toll-free 1-800-FRESHEST and mention TV. Order now.
Saturday, May 31st, the Collegiate Rugby Championship Sevens is on NBC Sports. Defending champion Cal will be there in Philadelphia. We hope you'll join us. We send it down on the field with Marty Snyder.
And Todd, I've got the entire team. Kyle Assumption, the captain. What was the difference today, Kyle?
You know, just 80 minutes of hard work. You know, day in and day out, we worked all year for this. Couldn't be happier.
And this guy is the MVP. All of these guys are national champions. How about that?
All right, Brian, your final thoughts on a great matchup.
Great day for BYU rugby, but hey, the most dangerous kind of bear is a wounded bear. They'll lick their wounds. Don't be surprised to see him back here again next year.
Your final score in the Varsity Cup, it's California 33, BYU 43. Congratulations to head coach David Smith and his BYU Cougars for the second year in a row. They are the national champions as they claim the Varsity Cup. Coming up next on NBCSN, it's Rally America. For Brian Hightower, Marty Snyder, and our entire production crew in Salt Lake City, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. Once again, the BYU Cougars, national champs.